Hello and welcome. This is Sandra Hart again at Life Over 60. Well, he's back. It's that time again. It's not a birthday, but this time it is our anniversary. Arthur and I will be celebrating 36 years in a few days, and that exactly is, I think, about 13,142 days together. It's amazing how we have lasted this long. Won't you please join us for a lot of fun, because we're going to go up into the garden and I'm going to interview my 94-year young husband, Arthur. Okay, here we are up in the garden. It's a little bit noisy, so I hope you'll be able to hear us. And here he is. Here is Arthur.
Hello.
Hello, Arthur. How are you doing today?
Pretty good.
Why are we doing this interview? Do you know?
I have no idea. I know that we have an anniversary, February 17th,
Right.
this year, for our marriage of 36 years.
That's true. But do you remember the phone call that you made the other day that I got, and you asked me a couple of questions? You know what they were?
The phone call, no?
Yes. You called me from the VA.
Oh, yes. I asked when she was born,
Yes.
and what else did I ask?
When we were married.
When we were married. Yeah, I was filling out some papers for an upgrade on my VA status.
Arthur, we all know you have so many fans in this community. They all wanted to see an interview with you. They love you. They think you're really interesting. You're good looking. You're handsome. That's a pretty good thing at 94. Now, we all know that you were a World War II vet. Some of my subscribers have had family that were in World War II. There are very few of you left. But when you were in the Merchant Marines, you went to a lot of different ports. What was the most interesting port that you visited? Can you remember?
I individually, I don't really remember individually, because the overall picture of going to these ports, every time I went to a new port, it was a new adventure. And, as an 18, 19-year-old sailor, and everything was, my eyes, were really enlightened, open. I was really open to see all these different countries and ports and so forth.
You had a great time when you were in India.
Yes, I was in India when it was Bombay, when they had the different name, not the name that they have today. Oh, look at that! Look at that little bird! Look at what is that? A blue jay?
I can't see.
Look at that!
I can't see.
Look. Now it's today. Now it's Bombay, right?
Mumbai.
Mumbai.
Yes,
Mumbai,
it used to be
yeah.
Bombay when it was under English rule.
Now it's Mumbai.
Do you have any kind of philosophy in life?
Yeah.
At 94, what can you tell us that
I have to think
is
about
your
it.
philosophy?
I have to think about it.
You don't have a philosophy?
I don't have a
at all?
philosophy. Every day is another day that
Maybe be kind to people, feed the animals.
Yeah. My philosophy
work
is
hard.
I always take care of the animals. That's a prime concern for me. I feed the pigeons, I feed the squirrels, I feed the cats, I feed anybody that's hungry, and I don't disrespect any animal or anything like that. I try my best to do the right thing.
You know, there used to be a squirrel that recognized me, and I would go out and I could feed it by hand. I don't
Yes.
see it anymore, but this morning when I went to walk Sophie, they must have recognized her when you take her on walks.
Yes.
And the squirrel came down from the tree
Yes.
and came running toward me because it thought I was going to give them peanuts. I
Right.
didn't have any peanuts, but it recognized her and it knew
Yeah,
associated.
you should travel with peanuts.
Well,
you put
yeah,
some peanuts
I
in your
forgot. I
pocket
usually
or
do, but I
something.
forgot. But they recognized her, thinking that I was the peanut.
It's the same thing with the birds. As soon as I come out, the birds come from all over. They see me and they recognize me that I'm going to put out some seed.
Do we have anything in common?
No. Virtually, we have nothing in common.
Maybe that's why our marriages work.
I don't know if
opposites
did.
attract.
Nothing in common. I give and you take.
Okay. All right, that's a good deal from me. That's
Oh,
what I
terrific
think.
deal. You have a terrific deal with me because there's nothing that you ever needed
Excuse
or
me.
wanted that you didn't have or get.
Do you remember our first date? Do you remember it? Yeah.
My first date.
Yeah.
Give me a hint.
Well, you drove your car 60 miles down from New
Oh
York.
yeah, I went to your place in Jersey, right?
Right.
And then we wanted to eat in a restaurant, and we went in about 5 or 6 different restaurants to do the interviews. You know, to.
You had to go into the kitchens.
Yeah, yeah. I went to the kitchen to see what they were doing.
Don't you think that should have been a red flag?
Definitely. You should have packed your bags and run.
Do you remember when I first met your mother?
Yes, I do. I think.
We went up to the Bronx
Yes.
and to her apartment. I'd never been to the Bronx before. I lived in New York, but mainly I just kind of stayed in the city the last time that I
Yes.
lived there. So it was really an experience for me, and I was curious as to whether or not she would throw out this Shiksta girl from her
Oh
apartment.
no! I think that at that time, I think she was a little out of it.
Well,
said-
she was sweet though. She gave us tea, and she
Rugula.
gave me those rugula. I had never tasted a rugula in my life. Now, rugula is flour, a pastry, but you put jam in it, nuts, and all honey, maybe and all kinds of things. And it was so good that I now am addicted to rugula. You know, for 36 years, I've been addicted to your mother's first sharing the
Yeah,
rugula
my mother
with
was a
me.
good baker and a good cook.
And she used to chase you when you would leave the house with a banana.
Yeah. I never was without a banana. No matter where I was, she'd come down. If I was playing stickball or I was running and this and that, she'd come down and with a banana. Eat the banana, eat the banana, eat the banana.
Do you think that's why the secret to your longevity
Yeah,
is
that's
bananas?
magnesium, I think. I think the banana was one of my things for longevity.
Now, at 94, what are you most thankful for?
I'm
Probably
thankful.
a lot of things, but
I don't
basically.
know. I'm thankful that I'm lucky in a lot of ways. You know, I'm living in paradise.
If you had 1 year in your life that you could live over again, what age would it be?
Oh man, that's hard. I have to. You give me these questions. We're unrehearsed, and you give me these questions, and you have to
Well,
think about it.
Well,
I have to
nobody,
think
just
about
on the top of your head.
on the top of my head. If I had
age?
one age or something like that, I don't know. Maybe in my teens or in my 20s. I really don't know.
The age where you had the most fun, maybe?
Most fun, I guess, in my 20s.
Okay.
I don't know. I really don't know.
Why didn't you go to California with your brother and Jack, your friend?
I don't know. I don't know because
You stayed in New York, but they went to California.
yeah.
Weren't you drawn to that
Yes, I
excitement,
pushed
something
Jack
different?
to California, and he was my roommate. He lived with me, and he loved my cooking. He never got over my cooking. When I used to cook, I cooked fish and various appetizers and all, and he loved my cooking. And he was a very nice guy. Unfortunately, he passed away at 90 a couple months ago.
Yeah.
They gave him a turnout second to none, like a very major celebrity.
It
would
was
get.
it was a virtual turnout. That was very interesting because we were in the heart of COVID, and everybody was in lockdown, even in Los Angeles. That's where he lives. So we did a virtual greeting get together, and it was very meaningful and very so. Even though there's COVID, there was still a way that we all could get together.
Gave a lot of accolades, a lot of a lot of things of how good a guy was and so forth.
We buy lottery tickets once in a while. We didn't buy this last one, but wow. One person won all of that money. It was almost $1 billion.
Three quarters of
One person. It was crazy. If you won the lottery, what would you do with the money?
I would
Besides
give.
buying me diamonds and furs.
I would give it. I would give. I guess 99% away, because at my age I don't really need the money, and the rest I'd give to Sandra.
Now, what about charities? You would.
Charities, I have 25 charities, annual charities to give. I would give it to them, and I would give it to Smile, the kids with the hair lips, and
Oh, that's a good one.
and the Shriners, and various causes that could really help.
Do you memorize telephone numbers anymore? I
No,
don't.
I only have one number that I remember. I have no idea.
Whose number is that?
This is a friend of mine, Danny. I know him 90 years. I have no idea how that number sticks with me.
I don't know any numbers. If I had an emergency and I lost my iPhone, I wouldn't be able to call my children. Is that awful? Because I used to have all these numbers in my head
Yeah.
automatically, but now I just am so reliant on my iPhone that I don't have one number that I can
Yeah,
recall.
it's like what you said to me the other day. Speaking about languages. I'm sorry I didn't take Spanish. Instead, I took French, and you said that if you don't speak it, frequently and all, you will forget it. And
That's
it
true.
is. I never spoke French with anybody, so I know a little few words, and I know some sentences, and I could read a little bit.
I know my daughter Brett, when she was in college, she spent about 2 months in Ecuador, living with the family and studying Spanish and going to school there as a college program. She was very fluent in Spanish, but she came home, and even though she's a flight attendant and talks with a lot of people, she never practiced Spanish or used it when she came home. So she lost the ability to really be fluent in Spanish, and that's what happens if we don't practice anything. If you don't practice being a nice person, you won't be. If you don't practice kindness, it won't happen. And everything in life that's good and worthwhile, you have to practice.
You're a kind person, so.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I really hope so.
No, you're kind, you're benevolent, you have a great following, you're concerned about your following, you speak to they email you or write to you or something like that, you're always attentive to them, they're always asking you for advice, they look at you as a champion of certain causes, and you are there for them.
Well,
and consequently, your following is growing very, very
Well,
large.
I care. I really care. I want all of us in our community to live the best life ever, a more purposeful life. And it takes a village sometimes. It takes all of us to take care of one another and to help one another go through this pro-aging period. Do you have any, for your 95th birthday, do you have any goals you want? Are you going to be like George Bush Sr. and jump out of an airplane?
I wouldn't mind that. I'd
Really?
like to parachute out of an airplane.
Oh, are they?
I could
No
do
way.
it. I still.
Do you really think you would?
I would.
Honestly?
If
Not
I had
just
the
saying
opportunity,
that.
I would like. Maybe one of your listeners has a plane and could bring me up there and give me a parachute or jump out of the plane.
You know, we're right here on the beach.
Yeah.
You could parasail or hang glide.
Yeah.
Want to?
That's
The boat and you're
yeah.
up in the air with the
that's
parachute
not like
over
going
you.
Well,
Well, I don't know. That's that would be I would even be afraid to do that. That would be really hard for me. Oh my,
we're sitting
Arthur.
here, look at it. We're sitting here. We're surrounded with views, the four views, these beautiful, magnificent structures, these buildings are right in front of us. We look to the left and we have the ocean, and the sun comes up from the ocean and settles from the east and settles into the west. It's just a magnificent time to be here. I mean, we are so fortunate, so lucky to have this particular place when everybody everybody is in turmoil and don't know what to do, and the weather sucks. This is perfect.
Well, that kind of is something that leads me to the next question. What are you most thankful for?
I'm thankful. Well, I'm thankful. I don't want, I'm thankful that I don't have any problems with my health, and I walk, talk, see, and hear, and I walk the dog, about 5 or 6 times a day. That keeps me, resilient.
Limber, yeah.
Limber.
Builds up your muscles and your bone strength.
Not only do I walk when I don't want to walk, I walk him, and he gets his exercise. So, like last night I walked 10, 11 o'clock because he had to go out, and he gets his exercise. It's very helpful for him.
Do you have anything on your bucket list at all that you want to do this year?
We
want to cruise, right?
Yeah, I'd like to cruise. I'll tell you very frankly.
Who knows?
I'd like to take a 3 to 4 month trip around the world again. This time I would be more susceptible to the places.
You would remember it
I would
more.
remember. I would be more attentive to the places I were going, and relish it more than I just took it for granted. Hey, we went to one port, and next day we were in another port, another country. I mean, it's truly marvelous. And most of the people.
You were into you walked up the Great Wall of China.
Yes.
You got a medal, or what did they?
Yeah,
give
they
you?
gave me a medal for walking up the Great Wall of China, and I have the medal in the and that was really an experience, and unbelievable. You can't believe it unless you're there. And now the problem I have now is the fading. All these things are just fading away. I don't recall a lot of these.
But we have pictures, and you have me to remind you, so that's
thousands
good.
and thousands of pictures I got. And what are we going to do with those pictures?
I don't know. We'll give them to our children, and they'll throw them away probably.
Yeah.
Who knows?
If you're not in it, you're not really interested.
Well, it's not as interesting if you haven't actually experienced. Have you ever done anything wild and crazy in your life? Anything?
I have to think about it.
I can tell you one thing that I remember when I think we were dating, and we were driving to a movie, I think. I had Emerson with us. We had Emerson, he was young. And we were driving up, would it be Broadway? Anyway, we were driving, or maybe it was 9th, what's uptown? 8th Street? 8th Avenue. Maybe it was 8th Avenue. We were driving up 8th Avenue in New York, and all of a sudden you slammed on the brakes.
Oh yeah, that was horrendous.
Scared me to death.
That was crazy.
What did you do, Arthur?
I jumped out of the car and I tried to separate two people that were killing each other.
Yeah.
And that was so crazy that I didn't want to see these people get hurt. That they were killing each other.
And you know what was happening? It must have been a fight between drug people, because all of a sudden
It turned on me.
they came around in front of my car and surrounded my car and started banging on my window. It looked like they may have been women of the night and other guys. It was scary. And I thought, why did you leave us in this car all by ourselves?
Stupidity. You know, I get.
You could have been killed.
Yes, I get pangs of stupidity at times. Uncontrollable stupidity.
Well, it scared the death out of Lee and I, because we were surrounded by really wild characters.
Yeah,
That was
it
awful.
was a wild street.
So if you've done more things like that in your life, I'm glad I wasn't around. Honestly, I'm glad I wasn't around.
I
Do you have anything to say to the young people maybe that might be watching, or to grandparents or parents who have children?
Definitely. Young people, it's yours. Go out and study history. Go out and take history lessons, and of the various periods. And you don't have to start way back biblically. Study history the last 100 years, and study the Second World War. And all these people were united and together to win the war, and study all these various times that were coming, various segments of 5 and 10 years, What is so important to us today It won't be important 2 years from now. We're in a constant change, and we're always changing. And we were interested in something 2 or 3 years ago, and all of a sudden we're not interested again.
That is true. That really is true. But I think that you and I, well, you were way before me, but I think the people that grew up in our generation, the people that are 50, 60, 70 and beyond, I honestly believe that we were part of that greatest generation. I know your generation fought World War II. You are considered the greatest generation. But I think my generation, called the silent generation, generation that followed me, we felt safe, we had prosperity, people, we didn't have to lock our doors. I mean, I just felt safe. I could go downtown to go dancing at the local YMCA. They had a club for teenagers. I would take the bus by myself and come home by myself in the dark. My parents would leave the door open for me, and I just wasn't afraid.
We're in very trying times. We are, adversarial to each other.
Is there anything else that you want to talk about? About what is the secret to a long marriage?
Yeah, a secret to a long marriage
once in a while.
is don't get argumentative. If she talks, don't listen to her, and don't argue with her, because if she talks and I'm always down. I cannot ever get an argument in going to my way.
All right. Well, that is the end of our interview, Arthur. Thank you so
No,
much.
there's still something more, you know.
Well, what else do you
You know,
want to
here
talk
again,
about?
I said it again, on the plains of hesitation, bleached the bones of millions,
Countless millions.
of countless millions, who at the dawn of decision sat down to wait, and waiting died.
36 years. Wow. I never thought it would last.
Seems like yesterday, really. Seems like yesterday. And you look at her. I can't believe, chronologically we're old. I can't believe that she's 82 years old.
You know, I can't believe it.
Truthfully, I can't believe. When I look at her, I don't see an 82-year-old woman. I see a woman in her 60s.
Oh, well, that's so sweet. Thank you.
But 82, it's mind-boggling to me. I mean, look at complexion.
Well, thank you, Arthur. Genetics, my mother, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you ever so much, everyone. I'm glad you joined us today for this Arthur anniversary interview. Please do something really nice for yourself today. Be kind to whomever crosses your path.
Yeah, the next interview I'd like to do...
And don't forget to share the love.
Yeah, the next interview I'd like to do is I'd like to rehearse it. I mean, all this is, all this is...
Interviews, all the people that I've interviewed in my career, you don't rehearse because you have to have a spontaneous answer. When you rehearse, then it's not honest.
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for doing this interview. And I look forward to our next interview.
We'll see you again. Take care and have a wonderful week.
Thank you.